Yes.
Thanks. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 195, recorded today, September 13th, 2018. On tonight's episode, we are going to break down the absolute massive Nintendo Direct that just happened. Ladies and gentlemen, you willed it and wished it into fruition. And ladies and gentlemen, it is here for 2019. It is the sweet, sweet Animal Crossing news. Jesse, just cue the music, would you?
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Marty Estes over here at Nintendo Dads, and I have just finished hyperventilating after today's Nintendo Direct. Oh my gosh, so much news to break down. But before we get into that, we hope you guys are having a great week. And speaking of great, I've got some amazing co-hosts here with me tonight, straight from across the pond. Two guys, actually, from across the pond. Gary Gray, how are you, man?
I could cry. I could honestly cry.
Really?
Yeah, we'll get into that in a bit, though.
Okay. Actually, that makes me very interested. So I'm gonna need to know about that. So, Justin Masson, how are you, man?
Doing well. I am doing well. I'm happy that a lot of other people are very happy and excited for this Direct. I finished it, went straight to bed, and I couldn't sleep for an hour and a half. I did not fall asleep till 1:30 this morning, which means I am running on 2 hours of sleep. And why, Marty? Because I love our community. That's why. And because Gary and I are stupid. That's also why. Very why. That's more the truth than anything else.
No, it's not. That is not more the truth.
You're too kind.
More the truth. Also joining us this week in the background and maybe popping in with a little bit of vocal here and there, Mr. Jesse Waldack. At least say hi, buddy.
Hi.
Nice.
Guys, listen, today has been absolutely...
I was keeping that minimum because I still had my fan on, so I shut it off now, so it's not so annoying.
Well,
but I have not yet seen the Direct, and I'm exhausted from all the week, so I'm kind of not participating in this week's podcast, but I'm still here with the music, and I may chime in if there's something I really have to say.
And you know what? We
I'll try to
certainly
keep it to a minimum.
appreciate you for it. We certainly appreciate you for it.
Jesse's running our control booth.
Yeah, so guys, just a massive round of news that we need to get into tonight, so why don't we just get straight to it, shall we?
Do it.
And of course, our news is brought to us by who, Justin?
Our amazing folks over at patreon.com. And we are truly so thankful for all the support they provide us. And we have actually some new patrons that I want to call out specifically. Bear with me 1 second here. I want to call out Mr. Philip C. Brannon. And there's another one.
Fellow Tennessean there, by the way.
Yeah, actually. And also big thank you to Travis Van de Veer. We appreciate you. And also Timothy Regis Jr. Now, here is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. You know I am horrible with names. If indeed I have butchered your name, I deeply, deeply apologize. I am so sorry. And Gary has been blowing you little lovely kisses across the video pond as he has been doing that. I do want to say you are right, Marty. Philip is from Tennessee. He wrote a lovely note when he subscribed. He said he just joined after listening. Since Marty joined the podcast full time. I love the show and look forward to getting to know everyone. P.S. I'm from Tennessee. Also, and Mega Man is great. So apparently,
yes, it is. Thank
you. Marty's buying friends. That's fine too. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
That's exactly what it is. All honesty and joking aside, thank you so much for supporting us every single day. We appreciate it.
Hey, speaking of buying stuff, Justin,
yeah.
I don't know about you, but after today's massive Nintendo Direct, my wallet is crying.
I don't think.
because I'm looking forward at all these games.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If you're thinking of the financials here, I don't think my wallet's crying as much as everyone else's.
Okay. Hey, let's talk about that here in a minute. All
Sure,
right.
let's do it.
So, for those who haven't gotten to watch the direct, like Jesse, today, of course, massive Nintendo Direct, probably one of the biggest, most packed directs we've had in a while. It did have some down spots. Kind of, I don't want to say boring, but it was like a roller coaster ride. It would go up and then you'd have to come back down, and there was the one more thing, and it was just great. And as you know, if you've been following it, this was supposed to come out last week. So some of the news we've already talked about, or we've already seen. A lot of it we haven't. And so what we're going to do over the next little bit here is we're just going to kind of give our thoughts and hit the highlights of this Nintendo Direct. And so what I want to do here at the very beginning is for Gary and for Justin, just get your initial thoughts, because what I'd like to do with the rest of the time is divide it up into talking about the games that were shown for 3DS, and then the games that were shown for the Switch, and also what's to come on the Switch, as well as the Nintendo Switch Online service, which we got a huge reveal on today. So, Justin, I'm going to go to you first, because you said your wallet is not as wounded after watching this. So what did you think about the Direct?
Yeah, I do think I thought the Direct was really great. I mean, I think I talked about it before in some of the videos. 35 minutes Direct. They had to spend a lot of time on third-party and first-party games, which is exactly what they did, and explain to us the service, which they did. I think the reason my wallet isn't hurting as much is that some of the games that were announced are not necessarily in my wheelhouse as much. I think they're great for other people. I love that they're coming to the Switch, but just not one of those games that I'm super hyped about. And I guess we'll like bury the lead, right? Like, I'm not a huge Animal Crossing fan, in that I have never played it. I've only played ever Happy Home Design, but I'm not like, I'm not like, so here, hold on a second. You're giving me that look. I'm not like someone like an Adam Leonard who was, willing it and wishing it into fruition and praying around, but I understand there's so many people who do love that, right? So I'm happy about it. I know that was something that everyone wanted to see.
The thing about that is that in saying that you've only played Happy Home Designer, you've never played like a core Animal Crossing experience.
That's exactly it.
There's way more to it than that.
For sure. So like, I guess my wheelhouse of knowledge is very thin to it. Now, when I look at the mechanics around it, is a game that I'd like, probably not as much, but a game my wife might like for sure. But then we look at obviously what I would call like Square opening up the Final Fantasy Vault. And although all fantastic, and my first JRPG was Final Fantasy VII, right? I think those are amazing things. Is that something that I'd be super hyped about? Not as much, right? Like it's great. Again, I'm happy that other people are super happy for it and that it's existing and it's good for the Switch. But for me, I'm like, I probably won't be doing that. Now, we then turn into games that I know that I would be picking up, right? So absolutely opening it up with a bang with Luigi's Mansion 3, right? Like go home. You just close the shop right there. I'm done. Thank you very much. I'm all in on that. And then obviously we got some information about Yoshi. So I mean, there was a ton of really great content there. I thought the pacing was well. I think to your point, some content was already covered, right? Just because the leaks out before, but I thought it was really great. I actually kind of left a little bit lacklustered by their presentation about the online service, to be completely honest. But we'll dive into that later. Gary, how about you? How did this land with you?
The pacing in this one was perfect. You got, a high and then a bit of a dip, then a high, then a dip, then a high, then a dip. It wasn't like other directs where it's like constantly bombarding you with good stuff, and then the rest of it is like, let's talk about a dragon from Xenoblade 2 for half an hour and then do the one more thing. So I think they actually paced this one better than they've paced any other direct ever. Now, I'm kind of the same as you, Justin, where like most of these games don't appeal to me. And I've been like that for a while now with these directs. But this one's the one where I've actually had more things that I've wanted to buy. And it's nice to see that next year could be better than year one, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the interesting thing, right? Like when you kind of take a step back and look at the story that Nintendo is beginning to tell into what would be Nintendo Switch's third year, I guess, right? You're lining up stuff again, such as Yoshi, Luigi, Animal Crossing, Metroid somewhere in there, a mainline Pokemon game, right? Like those are just the main ones that are on the top of my head. I think I saw a art with, and obviously all the Final Fantasies and ton of other stuff. You've got a really solid lineup. Now, where those land, and do they all land in 2019 or some get pushed to 2020? That's unclear. But I mean, even before you go into E3, you've got a pretty solid lineup, I think, that they're building out. And of course, we can be surprised with occasionally, by the way, this is coming new, or we've got a short window. So I think it's interesting to see what they've rolled out.
Yeah. One of the things I thought was interesting, and you've kind of brought this up, is that 2019 already is shaping up to be like just a gangbusters year for them, right? I mean, the only missing piece right now is to add 2019 to Metroid Prime 4, right?
Yeah.
That's the mystery. We don't know if that's coming. We don't know if that's happening. I would say if it is, that's going to be late 2019, possibly early 2020. What I thought was interesting is that you came in kind of lackluster, kind of saying, it did its job, but it wasn't, the games weren't there for me. However, earlier this week, Gary tweeted about how this year has not been his year for the Switch. And now all of a sudden he's coming in after this direct going, yes, yes, yes. It's to me, it's just like looking out at from the outside in. It's just funny to watch your reactions about it because, I like after such a solid first year for the Switch, right? And where we got Breath of the Wild and Mario and all this stuff was new and everything was fantastic. This almost feels like this year has been a breather year for them, right? In some way, like I don't want to say breather like, oh man, we're exhausted, we don't know what to do next, but more of a let's catch our breath, let's kind of let's kind of put the effort toward the future, and we'll do some ports and we'll do some changes to them, and we'll get the online up and running, and we'll really concentrate on third parties and indies, and then we'll hit hard again in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly the story that they're kind of telling there, Marty, is have that gangbuster first year with Mario, with Link, Zelda, and on their second year reliant, I should say like heavily reliant, but reliant on some, I would say like B tier titles, first party ones, some ports to supplement the catalog, strengthen third party relationships, and deep dive your nindies. And not deliberately like, well, now that year 3 rolls up, we're no longer into third parties and no longer into nindies. But I think it was probably a two-streamed approach for their campaigning and for their work that now allows them, when they roll into like a year 3, year 4, to have had development time on some of these other titles that are not necessarily like system sellers, but definitely system attach rates or system stabilizers, right? Such as, I think, Animal Crossing and Yoshi and Luigi, right? So I think strategically they've put themselves up really well. Again, I don't think the second year is at all lackluster, but I do think it tells a different story. And I think year three, when you move into something like year 3 with the momentum they have behind indies and indie developers, a strengthened relationship with third party that has a huge, massive success and attachment rate. I think you look at Square Enix and the Final Fantasy, and now you're hitting on all cylinders with your, I would say, like B team first party franchises. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to think of like Yoshi or Animal Crossing as B team, but I do think when you look at it to Mario, when you look at it to Zelda, when you look at it to Mario Kart 8, they're not quite as high up there. I think when you look at that, I think year 3, and if they continue that run into year 4 or 5, you have a killer system continuing, and they've hit all the right notes. And I think this is I think this direct really, I think, probably framed for us as viewers and for consumers what the next couple of years are going to look like for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to me saying that this year has been not my year, I mean, I'm not a Kirby fan. I had a Wii U and kind of don't rebuy that many games that are ports if I've completed them already, even if they do add the little thing in. We got Labo, and probably the first major game that I've had this year was Octopath Traveler. And I did buy Hyrule Warriors again, although I didn't play much of it. And the rest of it, I didn't care too much about. Now, I mean, we did get Mario Tennis Aces, which got severely overlooked after it got released. But I really enjoyed the demo when that came out. But there was something about it that when all the news started breaking, that there wasn't too much more than that online mode, sort of dropped off. But it's interesting to see that that's going to have a longer support than ARMS did.
Yeah.
So let's dive in here and let's talk just a little bit about 3DS, because again, Nintendo did feel the need to talk about 3DS, and obviously it still has life in it. I'm not, and we're not, let's just say this on the front end. People have contacted us and told us, man, every time you talk about 3DS, you bash it, or Marty hates 3DS. I'm not going to do that this time. Okay. Well, I just want to talk about the games.
I also just want to clarify that is only when Marty speaks about it, because Gary and I are rational, intelligent, logical individuals who understand that 3DS is critically important.
I was ready to just move on, and then you called me irrational. And we're just going to have to let it go tonight.
There you go. So yeah, 3DS, Marty.
Zach's not here to help me. So, so let's talk about a couple of these. Not a whole lot new, right? In fact, out of the 4 games that were shown for 3DS, only one of them was a brand new title. And by brand new title, I mean, we didn't know anything about it before this direct, because it is a port of a Wii game. And let's just go ahead and talk about that. That's Kirby's Epic Yarn is being ported to the 3DS as Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. Did either of you guys play this? I know, Gary, you just said you're not a Kirby fan, so you probably didn't. Justin, did you play this?
No, this one, I remember seeing it. I remember seeing the box art, but I didn't pick it up. Knowing
that you've not played it, then you need to play this. All right. Really? It is honestly one of the best Kirby games.
Oh, okay.
It really, I feel like, I know it's two different development teams or whatever, but or people who worked on it, but I feel like this really set the stage for Yoshi's Woolly World.
Okay.
And so there's a lot, like, Kirby's main ability is not to like suck in enemies, but is to like, he has this yarn whip, right? And he can like unravel parts of the environment and do everything. It's a really charming game. Nice. And it's like on the Wii, it was one of my favorite games. And so I think this is a really smart pick for them. They're able to release a fairly older game as a new port. And it's so for a lot of people, it's going to be a new Kirby game, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not a new Kirby game. It's not they haven't had to put all of the development resources they would toward a brand new Kirby game. So this is going to be out in 2019. It's going to include every bit that was in the Wii version. It's going to have some new abilities for Kirby and new King DDD and Meta Knight modes as well. So like Yarn Meta Knight and Yarn DDD, which they showed off during the Direct. Didn't give a date on it yet, but I'm going to be honest, like that. I don't know if I'm going to pick that up.
Sure.
Because I played every bit of Kirby's Epic Yarn when it came out. It's fun, but I like in my current deluge of games that I need to play, I don't know that this is for me.
Yeah, and I think, what I would say here is, we look at the 4 titles here, and we'll just quickly list them off again. I've obviously mentioned Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser's Junior's Journey, Luigi's Mansion, and Yokai Watch Blasters. I think the interesting part about all 4 of these, and first and foremost, I mean, we knew this was going to be in the Direct, but like they got to it very quickly. It was within the first couple of minutes. Let's show you these, and then it was over and done with.
Yep.
Right. So very short. It was less than 5 minutes. I remember watching the clock, being like, "Oh wow, that was short." But interestingly enough, I think what they're doing, and again, pretty much all of these, if you look at where the development time is, other than Yokai Watch, they're not spending time developing new games from scratch, but rather porting existing games from other platforms to pad out that lineup.
And if you think about it, Yokai Watch is not new development. It's simply translated.
Exactly right.
It's
So
localized.
we're not serving up necessarily new content, but we're bringing content or making it more accessible for others.
Like Bowser's Inside Story is redone in the same vein as Mario and Luigi Partners in Time.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. I guess my statement is it's not brand new, right? Like
I get what you're saying.
The assets exist. There's some updates, and they are doing changes to these as well, right?
Right.
But I do think that, what we're going to see from the Nintendo 3DS for 2019 and maybe 2020, depending on how long they decide to, obviously maintain its life, so to say, is the look at games in the Wii and the Wii U catalog that could be ported over and make them accessible again. And I think even when you look at these three games, targeted a little bit to a younger audience. I think Kirby is a great younger audience game, right? My kids love Kirby.
Yeah.
I think when you look at Yokai Watch, again, look at the target demographics for that, probably young children. Luigi and Mario and Luigi's Bowser Inside Story, that could be arguable potentially, but even when you look at the changes that Luigi's Mansion has made, that's 2-player co-op friendly. You could work with your kids on a couch as well and do it, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's again looking at that demographic that Nintendo is aiming at for the 3DS family, which is kind of your first level of console.
It's definitely skewing toward families, kids, and I think we've said that before, right? Yeah. So it's going to be games for the kids, games you think they'll enjoy. Like I was really surprised that they even, a couple of new things, right? I mean, we got a launch date for Bowser's Inside Story. We hadn't had that 11th. Before. We had just had 2019. Yep. Luigi's Mansion, of course, already had a release date of October 12th. We knew that. Yokai Watch Blasters has been out, and I just feel like that was one of those games where they were like, okay, this needs some PR, but the fact that they're giving away free DLC for that game is pretty cool, I think. If you haven't checked out the Yokai Watch games and you're like a Pokemon fan or even a level 5 fan, I love their designs. I love their art. I love the way they put together games. This is like a reimagining of Yokai Watch. It's not like your traditional RPG. It's more like a MOBA. Like you're joining up with all these other yokai and you're running around and you're like trying to fight these gigantic bosses.
Yeah.
So I haven't picked it up yet. I'm probably going to.
Nice. Eventually. I think the other telling thing about these 4 games they have announced, and to your point, 2 of these games are going to be completed or out within 2018. As a matter of fact, if you look at Luigi's Mansion, basically within the next month, 2 of the 4 are out. Then when you look at Mario and Luigi, that is January 11th. So you are just right into the tip of 2019. And then you have 1 outstanding, which is Kirby's Epic Yarn. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting that Nintendo, when you move into 2019, as of January 15th, you have 1 Nintendo 3DS game that's on the horizon that's in the production. I think that begins to tell a little bit of the story of what Nintendo's doing.
I would honestly be okay with this, and I was thinking about this today before the Direct aired, and I was thinking, okay, so we know they're going to talk about 3DS games. What else could they do? What else could they show? The rumor has been swirling forever about Mother 3, right? And honestly, I think that if they're going to do it anywhere, if they're going to do it at any time, it's going to be on the 3DS, and it's probably going to be next year. I was honestly thinking we would see it here. Again, high hopes, low expectations. So I didn't walk away going, man, they were supposed to show Mother 3. But I was hoping we would see it here. Like I was hoping that would because that would be huge news on the 3DS today if they drop Mother 3. The only other thing that they could do, I think, would be a new 2D Zelda.
Yeah.
And there was rumors that's out there floating somewhere. And I still think that I kind of think that, with the tapering off of third parties, even because none of those games are third party games that we just talked about. Maybe 2019 is the swan song of the 3DS, but who knows?
Yeah.
Just to chime in on the 3DS thing, because that's been my jam for the last part of this year so far. I love my 3DS. Like I say, it's been a lackluster year for the Switch for me, so my 3DS has sort of got me through it. I'm not a Kirby fan, however, Kirby's Epic Yarn, I am so excited to play this game because There's something about its charm that drew me in on the Wii, and I just skipped it because I had too much to play. And it's one of those games where I see it every so often secondhand in shops, and I'm like, oh, but am I really going to play it now? The Wii U's packed
Right.
away. I just don't know. I am so glad that I held out because I am definitely getting that game. Also, Luigi's Mansion. I mean, how could they've improved it? They put amiibo functionality in. They put the 2-player. Perfect platform for it in my opinion. And Yokai Watch, I'm not so fussed about, but my brother's really excited about those. So that's cool to see the fans of Yokai Watch getting a bit more. But I'm going to touch on something a bit later on because we normally get these presentations localized for England, and I think they were to a point. We still haven't had Yokai 3 here at all. Yokai Watch 3, so it's kind of interesting that didn't crop up as well. Like that's an easy game to get over. It's just going to be translated.
Yokai Watch 3 is Blasters.
I thought this was a spin-off of 3.
Oh, now I'm going to go do research before somebody corrects us.
You know what? How about we do this? Our wonderful chat. I'm looking at. We have 18 people viewing us here in YouTube. Can someone do a little bit of a check on that one for us? Maybe keep us honest, and then throw it in the chat. Keep us right shipped.
Hey, you know what, Gary? I just looked it up, and you're exactly right.
Look at that. Yeah. So I asked
3 is what am I doing with my life? is a traditional role playing. Yeah, I mean it has a new battle system according to the Yokai Watch wiki, but you're right.
So I'm kind of surprised that didn't show its head.
I think if you're looking for an opinion on it, I don't know if you are, but I think that Yokai Watch as a series, they've put significant funds and significant PR behind it, and it's not performed the way that Nintendo has wanted it to in the West. And so they're in their mind, let's change the formula up because we can play around with the story a little bit on our end. Let's change the story up and see, or the gameplay up and see if this helps. Yeah. But I mean, it didn't really have much advertising leading up to it. I didn't even know it was coming out until a week or two beforehand. So I don't know. Maybe I just live under a rock. Let's talk about the Switch. All right. Because this is where the meat of the Direct was. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. At one point during the Direct, they showed a sizzle reel of upcoming games in which they dropped a ton of dates. Warframe now has a date of November 20th. NBA 2K19 was highlighted. It's already out. NBA 2K Playgrounds 2, which Mama said if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. Anyway, I'm still burned by the first game. Even though I got Shaq Fu for free. But it's coming out this fall. Just Dance 2019 launches October 23rd. FIFA 19 on September 28th. It goes for pre-purchase right now. And Team Sonic Racing was shown with no date, and Lego DC Supervillains on October 16th, which I'm really excited about. It's the only game during the entire Direct that my wife went, that looks fun. So, yeah. There's those. They did 2 RPGs on the way. The World Ends With You Final Remix, and that's coming out October 12th. That's a new release date for that as well. With Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna, The Golden Country, launching on September 22nd. But you get it a week early. You get it tomorrow if you are an owner of the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 expansion pass, which I thought was a unique strategy. My question is this. Have we ever seen Nintendo do that before? Early access like that?
Not to the best of my recollection.
I just think that's interesting. I mean, to point out that they're toying around. I think this is seriously like with them toying around with the idea of early access for things if you go ahead and pitch the money in beforehand, right?
I think this is a bit of a different case. I think it's more like the New Super Mario Bros. U thing, where it's a part of the DLC expansion pass. So anybody who brought that, they brought it anyway, and then they decided a bit later on down the line, you know what, we've put a lot of effort into this. It could be standalone, so they're going to release it standalone, and they did the same with new Luigi U, like I said. So I think that it's just in a way, an apology to the people who brought the DLC that, like, you know, we are going to release this to everyone and they don't need to buy Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So it's a bit of a weird one. Like, I think they have done it to a degree, but yeah, it does feel like early access this time round. But I'm fine with it. I think it's cool.
I think it's even interesting that this is DLC for a bunch of people who already bought it, and they're actually putting it on a cart and letting you pick it up as well as a standalone story. I think that's an interesting prospect of how they're doing it. So
yeah. So from there, they talked about one of Gary's favorite games, Starlink Battle for Atlas, and did a pretty huge reveal on this, right? More Star Fox coming to this game. This is shaping up to really just be a Star Fox game with extra characters, if you think about it. And Star Wolf is now in the game as well. And they're going to, not only are you going to play as Fox and get to play as the R-Wing, there's going to be exclusive Star Fox missions only for the Nintendo Switch version of this game. Guys, I think that's huge news.
I do too, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to I ended up going out to Twitter beforehand and asking, hey, what was everyone so excited about? And this actually hit really well with a lot of people. Joshua Taylor mentioned that Starlink has him excited, and he loved the way that Wolf looked. Where other ones? There's a couple others here. Starlink blew my mind. That was Oxenus. Because I wasn't crazy about this game before, but after this new trailer, oh my gosh, I am totally in on that one. So Starlink appears to now be grabbing some kind of momentum around, and I do have to admit, it looked absolutely fantastic. Delta Dawn says Star Fox content in Starlink. So I think this is definitely getting some momentum around it. We're hearing a lot of it. Nick Metzger, our Patreon community creator, mentioned it as well. So there appears to be a lot around Starlink and energy for it. Now, Gary, this is definitely on your radar. You're pumped for it. I played it when I was at Gamescom. I have a bit of a different opinion of it. How is this landing with you? Are you still excited?
I am, yeah. It's kind of interesting how they're going to implement this, because Starlink is definitely more RPG than it is space shooter. So it's going to be interesting seeing that sort of how they implement that into the Star Fox sort of, it's not really the Star Fox universe, but the Star Fox style of gameplay. I'm guessing they're going to do some more free flight things and maybe even some on-rail sections. We just don't know. We'll have to see when it comes out, I think. I don't think we're going to see much more like videos and promos for this.
Here's the thing.
It's not too far out, is it now?
No, it's not at all. It's middle of
October.
October 16th, actually, was the date that they again reiterated today. Here's the thing about this. Like, I was watching the gameplay of it and everything, and it, like, even the cinematics, where they revealed Wolf and Fox was talking to the Star Fox team, they've not really, like, it looks like they've not cheapened out on this, right? It looks like it's not just going to be, hey, let's shove Fox in here. And like, if Ubisoft or Ubisoft hits, I'm sorry, I always pronounce it wrong. Ubisoft, if they hit hard with this and it does well, then they're like 2 for 2 with Nintendo properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the fact that last week, the creator of Mario and Rabbids, like the director producer, was in Japan again with their combat director meeting with Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And so something else is coming down the pipe from those two. I'm excited about that. I don't know if it's Mario and Rabbids 2 or if it's like Zelda and Rabbids, which would be amazing. I would love to see that. Metroid and Rabbids. I don't know.
I'm gonna say it now. If I had my wish with Ubisoft having their fingers into Nintendo's properties, I want Mario done in that Rayman UbiArt engine. A nice hand-drawn Mario. Oh, mwah.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Gary, now see, you've said something and you've made me want it, and it will never happen.
Mm-hmm.
I have that effect on many people.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
Seeing more people in our chat too on YouTube right now. Naeus Free and Animos are Ono Meister also saying Starlink, big hype for it as well.
I really think this is going to do well. And, here's the thing. It's Toys to Life, right? And they're entering into a virtually barren Toys to Life market, right? There's no Skylanders. There's no Lego. There's no Disney Infinity. And then they add the layer on top of this that you're not going to have to buy the toys to be able to get things in the game. And you can just purchase the ships and things. It's going to be a winner. I'm calling it. I've said it from the beginning. I'm excited for it. Couple this and Everspace together, the indie that's coming out, and I'm in space shooter heaven for a while. But I did notice, Gary, in the footage that, like, how you can tell this is definitely not your typical Star Fox game, because it looked like the R-Wing was like hovering above the ground, and you can move it around, like move it back and forth and strafe and all kinds. So it's going to be different. People just need to prepare for that, but I don't think it's going to be bad different.
It's really important for people to know that this does not play like a Star Fox game in the slightest. You can't emphasize that enough. It is more of an RPG. So, people have to sort of really bear that in mind, because if they're expecting to see Star Fox and it to play like Star Fox, it is nothing like Star Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. Another game that got a release date today, actually earlier in the day, but it was also in the direct. Diablo 3 Eternal Collection now coming on November 2nd, which is super soon for this game. The Switch version of the game gets the Ganondorf armor, so you can be Ganondorf. Compatibility with every single amiibo figure that has ever released, which unlock, like the game says, it's super powerful enemies for you to defeat, and a whole lot more. I'm excited for Diablo 3. I've never played it. I noticed a tweet today. Bill Trennan says he's never played Diablo 3. He's excited for this as well. So, like, a lot of people going to be experiencing this game for the first time. What about you guys? Is this something you're looking forward to? Because they specifically mentioned and highlighted today local and online cooperative raids. And they spent several moments in that trailer talking about it. I think this is going to be a big game for Nintendo this fall.
I think it is. I think it is a big game for Nintendo. It is. I think it's obviously their first interaction with Blizzard, and I think that's a huge win. And obviously, if you want something like Overwatch on the Switch, we want to promote it as well. Now, I'm going to say this: I'm not a huge Diablo fan, but I did get a chance to play it when I was at Gamescom. That video, I believe, is up on our site as well if you want to check it out. I walked away. I don't think it demos well. I will say that I don't think Diablo 3 is a game that necessarily demos well. A lot of people were enthusiastic about it. It didn't grab me. Again, just because I don't like it doesn't mean it won't be successful. Just didn't grab my attention. I had difficulty actually trying to maintain or watch what I was watching on the screen. Not because it ran poorly, but because there's a lot going on. It felt like a game that if it was docked, then this would be a much easier experience. But on the handheld mode, which is what they had us in, it felt a little bit like, okay, where am I looking? And I didn't quite have the controls I wanted to. But I do think, I know someone like Zach is super excited for it. I do think this will go well.
Is there a game that you can compare this to that, say, like, for someone who's never played Diablo 3, it feels like, or it plays like blank?
Probably 9 Parchments on the eShop at the minute is the closest to it.
Yeah,
which is a really good game as well.
Sorry, I was going to say, even the Arena of Valor beta that I know has been going on the Nintendo Switch, we have actually a review code for that or a code for that as well, but that you may have played on a mobile device. It's kind of that, it has that feeling, but 9 Parchments is probably a great example, Gary. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested in it. I haven't played Diablo before, but I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm neither here or there with those games, so we'll see.
I'm fairly excited, but I'll probably pick it up. I don't know that I'll pick it up like day one. I may wait to clear out some of my back catalog and then see if the hype's still there, for it. Yeah. Kind of like I did with Doom.
Again, I do think it's a good story for Blizzard. I know a lot of people are excited for it. Again, it just didn't land with me, but I'm also not a person that believes that, just because something doesn't land with me, it's garbage. So
that's a good point.
Except for JRPGs. That's my difference. Just seeing
you're going to get Jesse talking.
See if I can get I got a thumbs up from Jesse. That's all I was looking for.
Another thing that they spent some time on in this direct, not a game reveal, but a game update, is Mario Tennis Aces version 2.0 is coming. I was surprised at this. Like, I didn't know we were getting this.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they did really well is they kind of shifted, and I think maybe this is maybe where some of my more excitement is about stuff is that you're updating games I currently have, and I get more of a life into them. Yeah, I thought this was great. Obviously, Splatoon 2 got a version, or is getting a version 4 update as well. Mario Tennis Ace is getting a 2.0 update, and that's going to be coming out September 19th, which does trickle along with the big update as well.
They're wanting you to buy into the online pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly right, and they do mention some new characters coming, including Birdo, Shy Guy, Koopa, Paratrooper, and Petey Piranha, and they did say that they would continue to support this until June of 2019. I know, Gary, you mentioned that as well. That's actually longer cycle than they supported ARMS with. Now, interesting in this update as well, which kind of bleeds a little bit in the Nintendo Switch Online service. Mario Tennis Aces will be getting a voice chat function on the app as well. They'll be getting one of the games that will be added there. Nintendo officially actually gave a list of those updates, but Mario Tennis Aces was demonstrated in the demonstrated in the video as well. I'm excited for the updates for Mario Tennis. I actually do go back to it actually quite frequently and continue to play it, which I didn't actually think I would. Finish the first single player campaign. Again, I think this is the story that Nintendo is really good at telling. Is if you look at almost every single one of their first party games, it is not the game is done, here you go, it's over. They continually drip feed content into their games to give their games a longer tail, which means that your likeliness to be playing them or coming back to them or re-engaging with the content is longer than it normally would be if it was just a here you go, it's done and dusted. This is the first time Nintendo has used this strategy for an entire system. And if you think about it, if you list almost every single first party new game. And what I mean by new game is, again, it was not ported from from a previous generation. They have done this to almost every single game that has come out on the Nintendo Switch for them.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this because I did not have a good experience with Mario Tennis Aces. I was very disappointed about it after getting a copy of the retail copy of it because the big reason for me was the single player campaign did not feel like it had the value that I wanted to be there. Right. I didn't get that value. However, when you come back and you say, hey, we're going to continue to add characters, we're going to add a brand new online mode where you do co-op missions where, you're taking tennis and you're playing it in a different way and you're doing different things. And then on top of that, you say, if you're an online subscriber, you're going to be able to play this and you're going to get new alternate color schemes, special outfits, all kinds of stuff like that. All of this stuff is what I was looking for in that game. When I realized that going through single player in Mario Tennis Aces earned me absolutely nothing, that's when I was like, why even bother? And I think a lot of people were like that. Earlier right before the show, I was playing Mario Kart 8 online with some fans of the show. And I asked them how they felt about this, does some of them, does this make Mario Tennis Aces more appealing to you? And for some of them, it does. And I would wager to say that that's probably where a lot of people who have this game are going to be. This update is going to make things a little more appealing, right? And to me, it shows that, like what you said, there's probably stuff. If they're going to go till June of next year, that's a year almost, right? Yeah. There's going to be even more coming to this game, and it's not just going to be characters. It's not just going to be like, oh, here's, whoever you get them for playing a tournament in January. There's going to be more things coming along. I'm interested to see if the community sticks around for it. As after the kind of the so-so reception of it, is it bad to say, or is it wrong to say maybe this is a little too late of an update considering the reception to the game?
I think I would say I would never think it's too late for a game that has had poor reception to continue to try and make the content better for their fans.
Yeah,
I think
well, look at No Man's Sky.
That's
so
exactly my example, right? So I think, I think when you look at the window that Nintendo was fixing this in, that's 3 months.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky was 2 years. So I think we're being a bit entitled fanboy whininess to that for Nintendo.
Okay.
So
Hey,
I call a spade.
There it is.
Well,
that's fine.
As someone who doesn't own this is enticing me in a little bit because it's actually a promise that it's going to get better. So I've already said before that like I didn't buy it because I liked the online demo, even through its problems, it was still good. But then when I heard there was nothing on top of it, I wasn't so interested. Now they're making the online even better. I'm more inclined to buy it than if they said, right, we've added another 4 hours to the one-player campaign. I wouldn't really care about that. But it's these little, the promises that you're going to get stuff online, which is actually enticing me into it a little bit.
Gary, have you played it at all? Like any demos or anything?
Just a test racket,
Okay.
whatever they wanted to call that.
That is exactly what they should have called it.
Yeah.
The test racket. Speaking of updates, let's talk about something Justin's already mentioned with Splatoon 2. Version 4 is coming out very soon, early October. Actually starting tonight, version 4.0 is dropping. The Kenza collection is coming to Splatoon 2. This is basically how it describes it: familiar weapons painted with stylish monotone designs. So black and white weapons that will probably have some other little differences to them as well. But the big news here that they did not really spend a lot of time on in the direct, and we had to dig a little bit for, is that there are huge, huge changes coming to Splatfest very, very soon. In early October, 4.1 will drop, and it will bring a new stage, new songs, and more Kenza Collection weapon set with new sub and special weapons. And you can go check that out at the Research Lab Tumblr, the Squid Research Lab. But we did some digging for you. Thanks to Gary, he found us an account where some of this on Twitter has been broken down. So let's talk about this for just a minute. This is from @Splatoon News. All right. It's not an official account, but screenshots are provided and all of that, so for validity. Starting with version 4.0, Splatfest will now have 2 new modes: normal and pro, which replaces solo and team. In normal mode, basically you can join up with your friends, jump into Splatfest, and if you say there's 3 of you, the system will find you a 4th player, and you'll begin to have a group of 4. From there, in this mode, the amount that you ink individually in each match will be added to any win bonus that you get to determine your clout. And if your team is on a win streak, then the game will use this to match you against other teams who are also at that level, which I think is pretty cool. One of my big gripes about Splatoon 2 online has been getting in a match as a level 13 and being surrounded by level 50s, right? Just because they've had more time to play the game or whatever, or they're better at it. However, weapons, gear, or general styles of the 4 players in your team, if they meet certain conditions, now the game will give your team a nickname and a matching bonus for that. And the example given is the nearsighted shooter Squid Warriors. That's the name, the name that's given. Pro mode, on the other hand, is for those people who want to be judged on Splatfest power. You raise it high enough and you can make it into the Splatfest top 100. And one other thing that they mentioned is this 10x and 100x battles. Some people have thought this is a battle royal mode or something like that. Actually, what it is that certain times matches will give out 10 times the experience or 100 times the experience in very rare occasions. So plenty of reason to come back to Splatoon 2, right? I think they said they're going to do Splatfest for 2 years.
Yeah, or support it, yeah.
Yeah, so we're a year into Splatoon 2. So we've got about a year of Splatfest left, unless they change their mind.
Which I suspect they will.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think they will.
I mean, they said they were going to stop supporting the game in general after a year, and it's well past a year now. So I think they'll extend the Splatfest as well. But it's kind of interesting to see that, like, you hear a common thing that Nintendo doesn't understand online. They've started to really understand online, and this experience thing is a prime example of it. Arms at it, and you play for longer because you see these experience things coming up, or you carry on playing in the hope that they'll be there soon, and it keeps people playing for longer and longer and longer just because of experience. And Nintendo now knows that, and it's now obvious that they know that as well. So it's kind of interesting to see that their online game has upped in terms of games. It's just a shame that, like, we still don't have normal voice chat, which I'm not going to go on about, but we'll get through to that when we talk about online in a sec.
Now, I think, interestingly enough, the undertone of this, and maybe you're thinking, you're like, wow, these are amazing updates. I'm so excited. I can't wait to jump into Splatoon. You now have to remember that effective September 19th, this will require your Nintendo Switch Online membership to play. Mm-hmm. So, they're making these tremendous updates as to entice you into purchasing the online membership. And we're going to talk about that in a couple minutes from now. They even have on this page as well that Nintendo account holders with a 12-month Nintendo Switch Online membership, individual or family, will receive a download code for exclusive in-game gear for the Splatoon 2 game. So again, you remember we talked about before, or they talked about, hey, here's a Nintendo Switch. We have online services. By the way, we have this special offers box. This is a great example of the special offers box. You have a membership, you get exclusive gear for it as well. So if you're excited for this, just remember you do need to be paying for that online service as well.
I'm interested to see how far they push this online exclusive gear and online exclusive offers. And let's just go ahead and talk about another one of those. In revealing the online, and talking about the NES games, they revealed a set of NES controllers, which have rails on the top of them that you're able to plug in or click into your Switch to pair them, obviously, and charge them, that you'll then be able to play NES games with, like God intended them to be played, right? The funny thing about this is, or the interesting thing about it is, they're $60 for the set. They are exclusive. Only people who have a 12-month online membership can purchase these.
Well, and how are you doing that? Like, so here's my question. So do you have to go through their online store to purchase them? Like, so hold on. I'm like,
for more details, here's what it says. For more details, visit www.nintendo.com/switch/online service /special offers. So you're going to have to do it through the special offer site, and I'm sure you're going to have to sign in with your Nintendo account.
Interesting.
And probably use the credit card that you've set up on your Nintendo account to purchase these.
Interesting.
Yeah. They will be available for pre-order the day that online launches.
Let me ask you this. Will you guys pick these up?
Yes.
You will.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. You're giving me wireless NES controllers where I'm going to be able to play, as they say, an ever-increasing library of Nintendo games? Absolutely. Because here's the deal. The cool part about this is they're showing you, the pass the controller, right? The break it off and play locally and everything. What this is going to do is when I get my Switch, I'm going to have it in its case with the Joy-Cons, and I'm going to throw these in my bag too, so that if I'm out and I want to play Dr. Mario or something, then I can play it with a good controller, with a proper size controller.
It's all about the D-pad. We're going to have a real D-pad, unlike the Pro Controller, unlike the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, Justin, you don't look sold on it, man.
I'm not sold on that price tag. I'm not sold on
$60 is high.
60 USD for two of those things. Also, I think with that, when they show that picture of it docked charging, that looked absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it does. It does look ridiculous, but
here's the thing, though.
At least we've got an inbuilt battery in them. That's all.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You've got $60. I mean, you're selling Joy-Cons for $80. And some of these internals the same. You've got a battery, you've got your wireless pairing, you've got L and R buttons on the top of them now, which who knows what that's going to be used for.
Could you not have already bought like an 8-bit dough and this just works the exact same way through Bluetooth?
Yeah, but the thing is if you have an 8-bit dough, you spend $60 for one. Or even the adapter, like that you can use your PS4 controller and whatever. A PS4 controller is $60 for one. And I get these are just going to be for NES games. And as Gary was saying earlier, they've already shown, leaked in the menus that there's outline for SNES controllers as well. We know that's coming. That's fantastic. But like this is a little here's where Nintendo is smart in this is a little slice of nostalgia, right? You're getting your games, you're getting the ability to play those on the go, and now let's play them with the real controller too. This was a huge surprise for me. I love this. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the convenience of how they charge as well. I mean, all these other controllers you can buy, like the 8-bit doughs and the Wired Pro controllers and stuff, they all come with another wire. Like these, wireless, completely wireless. That's a selling point to me.
And as an owner of an 8-bit dough controller, let me say this. It does not feel like a Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
The D-pad feels gummy. The buttons feel gummy. It works. It's all right, but it just does not feel. I've got it and I've got the Nyko SNES wireless. Neither of them feel like they're fine, but there's just like something in my brain, like when I'm using them is going, something's off. Something's off.
I'm going to throw it over to our YouTube chat. If you think these are great ideas, these controllers, let me know. Just give me are you getting them? Yes, I am. Just give me a quick, I just want to gauge a little bit here.
Just to add as well, there is Famicom versions of these coming out in Japan. Which
those look sick, I'm sure.
Yeah, they look equally as dumb when they're attached to the system, but they have their own.
Why did you tell me this?
It's okay. You can't buy them. You don't have a Japanese wired account. I've just saved you £80 there.
Maybe somebody that's there can buy them for me.
Yeah.
My gosh. Anyway.
I can't wait for the N64 ones to be hanging out at my jump on rails.
Yeah. Right.
You've got like your Switch with the N64 looks like some kind of weird trident thing that you're going to kill somebody with.
So the shipments for these things will begin mid-December 2018.
Wow. So it's going to be a while.
Limited one purchase per Nintendo account with a paid Nintendo Switch Online individual or family account. Offer not available for trial membership. Rechargeable battery, 2 controllers. Yeah, interesting.
Yep. Yeah. Well, let's circle back around to this with talking about online here in a minute. A couple other things I kind of wanted to hit. There were games announced, and I just went, yeah, okay. Like, and I'm like you, Justin. Like, I don't hate them. It's just like it didn't light a fire or anything. Now they did talk about Mega Man 11, and I just went, yay for Mega Man 11. That's fine. We know we're getting it. It's great. I can't wait for that. They did talk about the amiibo functionality, which is you can only get that amiibo, the new Mega Man amiibo. You can only get it in the exclusive edition right now. It's eventually going to be available later.
Guess what didn't make an appearance in the UK version of this?
Mega Man 11?
Mega Man 11 amiibo. No Mega Man 11 amiibo, because we're not getting it. They said, but you can use your Smash Brothers amiibo, the one that you couldn't get in gold.
Oh my god.
So Mega Man fans in UK, riot. Let's do it. Let's take to the streets of London.
I'll tell you what, if I can get an extra one of them, it's yours. I will make sure.
Honestly, again, we have this thing every once in a while where we say, you guys get the better stuff, we get the better stuff. If you're a Mega Man fan, you're in England, you have not had a lot of stuff that the Americans
not have the good stuff.
Yeah. So,
right.
And it's interesting to know that there is differences between these directs. Like that literally did not say anything about a collection or the amiibo. They just literally brought up that you could use your old Smash Brothers amiibo to unlock new things in this game.
Right.
And I think this is the first official confirmation that we are definitely not getting that amiibo here.
Yeah.
I hate that for you guys, though. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because this is super cool. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, it looks awesome.
So a couple of the things that were announced here, as you're mentioning, Civilization 6, which is going to come out November 16th. Cities.
You're excited for this.
Yeah, I think it looks amazing. I mean, I like those sort of games. Also, the next one that Justin's about to say was actually one of my standout games of this.
City Skylines.
Yeah.
Basically SimCity.
Yes, I love sim games. I Roller Coaster Tycoon, way too many sleepless nights playing that. Transport Tycoon, exactly the same again. Theme Hospital, Theme Park.
Sorry, so Gary, you are interested in Cities Skylines?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right, moving on. Capcom beat 'em up bundles.
I am excited for this. I'm in.
Yep, I'm in.
I'm in. I love those side-scrolling Capcom.
Capcom doesn't make good games. Why are we excited for this?
Right,
Capcom makes great games.
Martin,
or they used to.
I've got a bottle of wine. I've got some candles. We can play online.
Yes.
There you go.
The only thing that's wrong with this, the only thing that's wrong with it at all is no Final Fight 2 and 3. Unless they're unlockable.
And the fact that Justin's not going to be playing with us either. That's a bit of a shame. But
you know what I'm waiting for? Here's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Konami. I believe it was Konami to remember that they made an absolutely amazing X-Men side-scrolling beat 'em up in the 90s, right? And a Simpsons game that was a side-scrolling beat 'em up like this. And I want both of those games. I know it's never going to happen. They did an Avengers, they did the Simpsons, they did X-Men. I'm sure they did something else. But if we could just get those games, man, they were so good. They came out on the 360. They redid a lot of them on 360. Never did the Avengers one, but they did do the X-Men and Simpsons.
And it's the time for these old revivals, you know. I mean, we've got Streets of Rage 4 being announced, so all these kind of things, they're slowly coming back. Games. You know, it's no longer going to be about Battle Royale or COD. It's going to be all about Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Sega Ages.
Yep.
It's all coming back, Justin.
Yeah, it's all coming back. It's just you gotta spend $7 or $8 a pop for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, retro sales. Demon X Machina was also talked about again. We got to see some more footage of this. Anybody excited about this game?
Yes,
I'm cautiously optimistic.
You know what? This looks like Monster Hunter of the Skies. I'm sold. 4-player online. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, those like that battle at the very end of the trailer with the giant like black and red glowing robot scorpion or spider or whatever, that looked really cool.
You know, put it on a plate. I'm going to serve it up, have a cup of tea, and just enjoy this. It looks so good. It really does.
But now I will say that you calling it Monster Hunter of the Skies just turned my stomach. I don't know that that's going to be for me. It looks fantastic, and I gotta say, any game where I can be a giant robot that's destroying other robots to like pulse pounding heavy metal, you know, yes, I'm all for that. Nintendo, like that's exactly what a dose of what Nintendo needs, right?
Yeah, it's different for them. It's different for them, so it's nice seeing, you know, these change of paces that are happening, you know, all over this direct, really.
I don't know if anybody else was excited about this either, but I love the fact that the Switch is getting tabletop games.
So this question was actually brought up to us, and our friend Blake asks, how will this directly impact family game night? And so, of course, the tabletop games that were being referenced here are let's see, Catan, Pandemic, Munchkin, Lord of Rings, and Carcassonne, right?
Carcassonne, yeah.
Carcassonne, and this is obviously all from MZD Digital, and they'll be starting to come out in this December as well. Marty, you and I are both big tabletop gamers. You're excited for this.
I am, and here's why. I think that the big impact of this, to answer Blake's question, is going to be setup and takedown. right?
Mhm.
If I want to play one of these games and I'm too tired to sit at the table and fiddle with a bunch of bits and baggies of meeples and tiles and all kinds of stuff, we can fire it up on the Nintendo Switch and play it. Now, here's the deal. What a lot of people need to understand is these are ported over iPad apps. Okay? That's what they are. You're going to get touchscreen controls. You're going to get all that because it's already built in there anyway, right? Although I will say that the version of Carcassonne that Asmodee is bringing to the Switch looks way different than the actual iPad version that I have. But I think they're doing it. They're doing it with some really recognizable board game names, tabletop games. I think Carcassonne, that's huge. It's like one of the games that got me into tabletop. Pandemic is going to be gangbusters. Munchkin is a terrible game, but it's like literally the game tells you like it's like get the loot, screw your friends, and it's like even the creator of the game says like just play it how you want, like it doesn't really have any rules. So I'm interested to see how it's going to work on tabletop like that. But Catan too is going to be ridiculous if you can take these games and you can play them online. I think that's going to be big.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm actually, and again, I think you and I, and maybe because I'm this early in the morning, I feel like you and I are butting heads on a lot of things here, Marty. So Blake, my answer to that is, I probably won't pick these up.
Okay.
And the reason, and again, I don't think it's wrong, Marty. I think you're right for yours. For me, in our house, when we look at games, we look at it two different ways: either video games or board games. And I think there's a different atmosphere around some of those things. We can have a video game night, right, where it's party games together, or we can have a board game night. And I think that I still love the tactile feeling of those cards. Yeah. And I know you do too. I'm just saying, like, I have Pandemic. I'd rather play Pandemic at the table with family and friends and have some beers and some snacks and stuff like that. So I think that that's just a change, but I do think it's good. I think if it gets people more accessible, and I think the beautiful part about it may be, Blake, that it may become a gateway for people. Right. So I played Pandemic on my Nintendo Switch or my iPad, and I walk into a board gaming store. Hey, it's there. Hey, we should pick that up. Right. So it may actually cause a kind of a gateway connection to tabletop gaming, which I think is fantastic. So
I think it just shows how popular tabletop gaming has become.
Absolutely.
In the last 4 to 5 years, and I think any exposure these games can get is good.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think when the question was directly about family game night, mine doesn't change, but I think it's very cool though. I think it's great. Yeah. When I saw Pandemic, I was like, okay, that may be cool.
I do think it's important to note that like the tabletop gaming and video games go side by side. Like me and Justin are off to EGX soon. Yeah, we are. And they always, EGX and Insomnia in England always have a big like tabletop and card game sort of area, and they're always popular. So it is nice to see them marrying over to the Switch, and even though personally I'm not into them, it's really cool to have there.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, like I said, I think the exposure is great. But Justin brings up a good point about separating those games, and separating tabletop from video games, and that. I think in our house, at least as parents, we need to do that sometimes, right? We need to say, all right, we've had enough video games lately. We've played a lot. So let's play something at the table tonight. Yeah. And I mean, we like our kitchen table is a custom board gaming table that has a removable top. I love board games. But I like the idea of being able to take a game on the go like this too. It's portable. If I, I don't want to play Smash. I don't want to play this. I can get in around a Carcassonne, right?
Yeah. So the one thing I really love about board games and stuff like physical board games is you can tell how old your family is by the board game. So if you go to someone's house and you see a box like this, Gassy the cow that goes moo and then you've got a young child.
Yep.
Where if it's Monopoly, they're a little bit older.
Yep.
Love it. That's exactly right. Yeah. So there you go. And that might be the title of the show right there. Gassy the cow. I don't know. Speaking of Gassy, or cows or whatever. There's cows in this game. Katamari Damacy Reroll is coming to the Switch, and I did not see this coming at all. Like, this is one of those out of left field, like, crazy announcements. I don't think we need to spend too much time here. This is the first game. It's HD remastered. It's going to have HD rumble, gyro control, multiplayer support with multiple Joy-Cons. And this is coming on November 30th. So this is really soon. This is a game that if you had told me was coming to the Switch like before today, I would have said, shut up. No, that is not. That, like, why would he? But like this series has a cult following, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, like, again, it's exposure. It's going to be great. I don't know that I'll pick it up. I played the crap out of it on PS2 when it first came out, but I think it's a great score for the Switch. I'm sure it's coming to other consoles as well, but if I play it, I'm going to play it on the Switch. Speaking of Switch, 2 bundles released or announced in this past week. Number one, thank you. Number one, the Pikachu and Eevee Pokemon Let's Go bundle for the Switch that comes with a custom dock, a custom backplate for the Switch, custom Pikachu and Eevee Joy-Cons, and a digital version of the game depending on which character is depicted on the box. You can either get the Pikachu version or the Eevee version. They do not feature reverse Joy-Con colors, which would have been a way for Nintendo to make a gold mine on these. Like the Eevee version should have had like the brown Eevee on the right. Think about the marketing. All right. The other bundle that was revealed during the Direct, and let's be honest, this bundle, the Pokemon bundle, was supposed to be revealed during the Direct, right? And so it kind of, I don't know if it leaked. Nintendo leaked it, right? I mean, I think Nintendo just had, like, it was supposed to go up for pre-order that day, so they went ahead with it. The other bundle that was talked about during this, and I think this is super interesting, is the Smash bundle. Okay, so it's being called the Nintendo Switch Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Set. It comes with a custom dock, branded with Smash characters on the sides. You know, it also comes with the laziest Joy-Con reskins ever. You could do these at home if you wanted to with white electrical tape and your gray Joy-Cons. And it also comes with, guys, I'm going to need logic here. I'm going to need an argument for this when we talk about it. It comes with a download code for Smash, and it comes out on November 2nd, but you can't play the game until December 7th.
Yeah, this is one of those things that when I kind of looked at the press release afterwards and I read it and I kind of scratched my head. I was like, oh, that's the worst, right? So you are probably that big of a Smash fan, so excited for Smash, so hyped for Smash. You specifically go out and buy this bundle, but then you literally cannot. You have to be looking at this amazing this amazing dock, this Joy-Con that is just the Smash logo. And basically just like, you got to wait now. It's like the biggest tease in the world. I think, you know, and the interesting fact is they get this out 2 weeks before the Pokemon one. I don't really know what they're thinking here. Obviously they want to get it out before Black Friday and big sales for
Right.
holiday, but like, yeah, that sucks.
Like, I went to the website just so that I could, you know, see it and look at it while we're talking about it. It mentions here Nintendo Switch includes Nintendo Switch game system complete with Smash Bros. Ultimate branded Joy-Cons, controllers, and dock, and a download code for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, you would think that maybe the game is going to be available for pre-purchase, right, in November, and that they'll allow you to pre-purchase it a month before and, you know, download it and have it active. No. It says this: note, the download code for the game won't be active until the game launches on December 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, hey mom, hey dad, you're going to get smashed with this, but you've got to somehow hold on to this download code for 35 days.
Yeah.
That just does not make sense. It's
challenge
to me.
This challenge.
I'm opposite to you guys. I actually think this makes perfect sense. I think it's a logical move, and I think from a marketing point of view, it's kind of genius. And the reason is because people are really hyped about Smash. They're going to get this out before all the holiday sales start. They're going to get it out before everybody else releases their limited edition consoles, which is something that you have to be aware of, is that they are a contender in a market of, flooded with other consoles and other limited editions. And even though, it sounds dumb with the download code, this has happened before with a few things where you get download codes first and then they're not out until a couple of weeks later, except this is a really long time, in all fairness. But, it's the only way they can get the bundle out early. That's why it's not coming with a physical. That's why it's coming with a download code. And I think it's the right move, personally. I think the Pro Controller should be out early as well. And it just gets that hype up a little bit more.
Well, at one point, it looked like it was coming out early.
Yeah.
Best Buy changed the date on it, and I don't know. Like, I get that it's out there, but like Nintendo has done this in the past, especially like with the Ultra Sun or the Sun and Moon Special Edition 3DS, to sell the system but not have a game with it.
So I don't want to go on too much about this, but there's one thing that really concerns me about the Pikachu and Eevee one, and that is this. Like, there's a gloss on the back of the Switch where my fingers have been. Now, I don't have greasy fingers, I don't have particularly dirty fingers, but still, you get these glossy shine. Is that going to wreck the Pokemon one? Because I think
the decoing, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking you were going a different direction with that. That maybe those the Pokemon and the other figures and other things are outlined in a glossy black or whatever, kind of like the front of the dock. And if you put that down too much, it's going to get scratched. And all of those glossy pieces or parts are going to have all these fun scratches all over them.
It's going to be interesting to see the complaints of that later on, see if there is any or not. Because I know a lot of people say that about the back of the standard Switch about it going glossy. So
yeah,
that. And if you think about it, guys, this is the first time that we have seen an official backplate change for the Switch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and this official. Nintendo's doing it.
Yeah,
I don't think it is. I think the Monster Hunter Generations one in Japan actually had a different back panel and a customized dock. So it's been done in Japan before, but just not over this side.
Not worldwide.
Yeah,
not available worldwide.
So yeah, those are two new bundles that people are definitely going to have the availability to pick up. Speaking of stuff done by Game Freak, a new game called Town. It's a working title is being developed by them as well, and this will be launching in 2019. Basically, players get to take up arms against invading animals or invading monsters, and it's an RPG. So more from that as well. Obviously, Game Freak has a huge.
It kind of looked like it had of course, they didn't show the combat for just a second, but it looked like the choices that you had was almost like a rock, paper, scissors type system. It had a number, it had like 3 different symbols with different colors, and you had to match it up to what the monster was going to do. I thought the art style in this game was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in it. This is dumb. I think it'd be cool if they just called it Town.
Could be.
Yeah.
Jumping around here a little bit before we get into the big, I think some of the big items here. Yoshi's Crafted World was shown up as well. Looks absolutely fantastic, and they highlight the idea of being a flip side or back side of the course and discovering secrets. This does come out spring of 2019. Look for this most likely in the March or April release window, probably where we saw Kirby last year as well.
Also so good.
Also, just from a reference point, for those that paid attention last week, be prepared that Marty's going to have to buy me a full tail Nintendo Switch game.
Hey, we haven't seen all about this game yet.
Yeah, we haven't, but I bet you I'm right and you're wrong. Flipping over to some other, speaking of weird things or some interesting things they have done, New Super Mario U Deluxe is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a port of the classic Wii U, and will be launching in January 11th, and going to have the return of Mario, Luigi, and Toad as playable characters, as well as Nabbit and Toadette, who can also turn into Peach by getting a Super Crown. Peachette, I apologize.
So,
and also,
this brings up some very interesting lore here, right? So is Peach just a Toad? Is Peach what is Peach? Because
goodness.
this throws some stuff in there, now, because like she got the crown and turned into Peachette. And I was like, what just happened?
Peach, Princess Toadstool, connected. This is it. We're seeing it. She is actually.
This is Nintendo's chance to retcon all this stuff, like to get it all fixed. Yeah.
I could have got. I'm gonna hold back because I could go on a tangent, and this is why she never gets romantic with Mario.
There you go.
Yeah, that's why.
So let me ask you this, guys. This was a where there's smoke, there's fire. New Super Mario Brothers U, again, the support of the Wii U version coming. Are you guys excited for this?
Yes.
Gary, Marty, yes. Gary,
no, because it's another port. Like I say, I'm not really buying the ports. Although this is probably one of the best 2D Mario games. Fight before it, and the Luigi expansion was just amazing. So that's not to be missed.
Exactly. As to your point there, the new Super Luigi U will also be included in this as no charge, and it was DLC for the other game when it was on the Wii U. This gives it a whopping 164 courses to play, so a lot of content there. So if you're looking for some, maybe you didn't have a Wii U and you missed this game, this is definitely worth going back and end up picking up. But to the point, if you double dipped, you may not want to.
I think it's worth noting here that, they messed with the new Super Mario Brothers formula here, right? We had Mario, Luigi, two Toads. In this game, New Super Mario Brothers U on the Wii U, we had Mario, Luigi, two Toads until the Luigi expansion came out. But now you can play as, which, Mario was not available in Luigi at all. Now you can play as Mario and Nabbit at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is big for us dads, because Nabbit doesn't take damage. And Nabbit is kind of like an infinite character, right? So you can play with your little kids and introduce them to Mario with New Super Mario. That's kind of why I'm excited about it, because I'm not necessarily a fan of everything in the new Super Mario Brothers formula, but Gary's right. This is one of the best 2D Marios of all time. This also gives me hope that sometime in 2019, we're going to see Mario 3D World ported over to the Switch. And it's going to be different, and it's going to have different characters, and it's going to be amazing, just like it was on the Switch.
Absolutely
on the Wii U. If this gets ported over and that doesn't, it's a crying shame.
Yeah. Now, so that was that. Speaking of some more ports, this was kind of the big news, is that it was a Final Fantasy extravaganza, ladies and gentlemen, with a ton of content coming from Square. So I'm going to quickly kind of list off some of these games that are becoming now. This kind of blew my socks off here, folks. They will be coming to the Nintendo Switch: Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy IX, and 10, 12 HD remastered, as well as Final Fantasy, 12, the Zodiac, X2 HD remastered, Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, and also Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, which is available right now to purchase for a limited time. There is also going to be the World of Final Fantasy Maxima, which launches on November 6th, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, Everybody, which launches in the winter, and the Nintendo GameCube co-op game Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition with online multiplayer. And they said no need for a link cable comes to the Nintendo Switch in 2019. Guys, Square Enix opened up their catalog and just said, what would you like? And apparently they chose everything except for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, this is also coming out on other systems as well, because I had a friend post a screen of these being shown that they're going to be available for Xbox as well. All right, but here's the deal. Final Fantasy VII on a Nintendo console is absolutely ridiculously huge, and I'm going to tell you why. I grew up, I was NES, SNES, N64. I had a Sega Genesis. I had TurboGrafx 16. But around the time of the N64, I was on one system. I was Nintendo only. This game caused me to buy a PlayStation because it was Final Fantasy VII, and I'd played every Final Fantasy I'd ever played on the SNES, right? And on the NES. So this is huge, because these are games that completely missed Nintendo and drew huge numbers for Sony from Square Enix. And finally, they're seeing the light of day, and you're going to be able to play them portable. Final Fantasy IX is one of the best Final Fantasy games of all time. It's probably my favorite, actually. If I was pressed to say it, and I cannot wait for these. Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2 are like some of the first games that my wife and I played together and completed together while she helped me through it. So there's some nostalgia there. Man, they like I think the big thing takeaway here is Square Enix has gone all in on the Switch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interestingly enough, also with Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition now available, and it is on the Nintendo Switch eShop right now. It is 40% off.
Yeah.
I'm having it listed at $23.99 retail price. It's in the Canadian eShop. I suspect it's around $17 or $18 in the US one.
$17.99.
There you go.
15,
So if you,
£15 UK, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to pull trigger on it, you might want to do it.
Yeah, that's only for a limited time, and that's on every system that it's available on. So I'm glad that we're getting the discount too.
I know
guys,
their good friend Callow has already pulled the trigger on it. So
when I said I nearly cried, this was the reason why. Okay. There's only ever been 2 directs that have nearly made me cry. The first one was the reveal of Cloud in Smash, and as soon as I saw the space thing start, I was like, "No, it's not Cloud." It was Cloud, and I nearly cried at that. And I am an emotional man, by the way. I need to put.
You are you cry. You're a bit of a whiner.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
And the one thing I've always dismissed as ever happening, and one thing I never ever saw coming would be Final Fantasy VII on a Nintendo console. And I wanted the original. I was actually looking at buying the original Final Fantasy VII on the iPhone last week, and something stopped me from buying it. So seeing this in this direct was just the best. It's
Aren't
also
you glad you didn't spend that money now?
Oh yeah, really glad. But it's also interesting. Why is Final Fantasy VIII not there? Does anybody know the reason for that?
I do, because it sucks.
Oh,
because it's the worst Final Fantasy game that has ever been created, and everyone associated with should be ashamed for what they did.
No, but I mean, it's kind of weird. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing all the other old Final Fantasies are going to come to this system. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10.
It's the same way on. It's the same way on Xbox as well.
If there's anyone,
I think they realize it's not going to sell.
No, if there's anyone in the YouTube chat that knows why, there has to be a legitimate reason why this isn't coming out.
Yeah, let us know, guys. But yeah, very excited. Gary, are you picking up Pocket Edition?
You know what? I keep looking at it. I'm so tempted. And let me just say that if this is the full game of Final Fantasy, right? All they've done is change the graphics. I'd choose these graphics over the normal ones anyway. So for me, this is really. I mean, for the price point as well. Yeah, it's a steal.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm even looking at it thinking, maybe I should pull the trigger on it. I haven't played a Final Fantasy in a long time. You know my feeling on JRPGs, but this looks like it could be interesting, and it could be good to kind of re-enter the Final Fantasy world. So speaking of worlds that we're going to be entering here, folks, let's talk a little bit about the online service here. We obviously have some big titles and some big announcements that we'll finish off the show with, but Nintendo did reveal their Nintendo Switch online service, which obviously is coming next week, ladies and gentlemen. September 18th, it comes online, respectively, in North America. Over in Europe, it will be on the 19th, very early in the morning. And they began providing some outline for it as well. I'm going to tell you guys, as the event, like their trailer for it closed off, I didn't really feel like they really answered a lot of my questions. And I was a little bit like, that's it, hey? Very lackluster is how I kind of originally felt about it. But feeling a little bit better as I have dug into their website and got some more information on it. I'm going to assume, guys, we're all getting this, correct?
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's no doubt about this. So they have referenced online play, Nintendo Switch Online, the NES systems, which we've already kind of talked about a little bit around. So let's maybe kind of dive into that, because I think that was one of the biggest questions that people had was, hey, there was supposedly 20 games that was coming. What were the 20 games? So they have officially announced what those 20 games are. I'm going to list them off for you right here. We have, and apparently this appears to be no alphabetical order, just random order. Soccer, Super Mario Brothers, The Legend of Zelda, Ghosts and Goblins, Excite Bike, Tennis, Balloon Fight, Super Mario 3, Tecmo Bowl, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Ice Climbers, Double Dragon, Gratis, ice hockey, Mario Brothers, Dr. Mario, River City Ransom, pro wrestling, and baseball. Now, this will be the launch lineup that's going to be occurring in September. They are then going to be following up additional releases in October that includes Solomon's Key. Now, that is obscure reference. NES Open and Dodgeball. In November, they'll be releasing Metroid, Mighty Bomb Jack, and Twinbee. And then in December, it will be Wario's Woods, Ninja Gaiden, and The Adventures of Lolo. And again, so this appears to be, 3 games every single month they're adding. A couple things that they didn't really talk about here, where they talked about the games very briefly and then kind of moved on. Now, they did have a nice interface, kind of, again, very Netflixian. So we'll see, obviously, this next week. These can be, as we've talked about before, you can have the NES controllers that was referenced. Of course, you can also just bust off a Joy-Con and pass it along. These games will have play online together with 1 or 2 player online mode. And the other thing is the give friends a hand mode. When you play online, you can display a hand-shaped cursor on your friend's screen. Use it to give them hints or point out strategic locations. You can even clap or congratulate them. Now, this is interesting because I was under the impression that you were able to pass control back and forth. It doesn't sound like that on here anymore, does it?
No, it doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, the pass the controller thing that they even called it that, did they not?
Yeah.
It's gone.
They have pass the Joy-Con, share the fun. Pass the Joy-Con. You and a friend can use a single Joy-Con or Joy-Con controller for easy 2-player gaming. It doesn't sound like there's
the idea though of the give friends a hand. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, but I thought it was more like pass control.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is really interesting about this is, they had talked about 10 of these games, right? And they had talked about what the ones that were coming out. Some of the games that are on this launch list and some of the ones that are coming by the end of the year are games that have never seen a virtual console release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pro wrestling has not received any kind of release, a remaster, a reproduction, whatever, since 1987.
Mm-hmm.
Lolo, the Adventures of Lolo was never available, as far as I know, on the virtual console. Or Twinbee, Mighty Bomb Jack, like Solomon's Key. I think one of the things that's key to take away from this is that Nintendo is not just going to be offering first-party titles. That's all we'd heard about up until this day, up until today. The first 10 were all first-party titles. And so my thought was, well, they're only going to offer first-party titles, and they're going to let everybody else do like the Mega Man Legacy Collection, right?
Yeah.
They're going to do that. However, another interesting thing that I captured while we guys were talking about this is on the page where it talks about this is it talks about pick up and play. You can play, save, jump back into your action whenever you have a few minutes. There's a little animated GIF file right there, in the thing. And so I played it and I noticed something strange, and I actually took a screen capture of it. And I want to share this with you. When you press start or you go to the suspend menu by pressing ZL and ZR, you get 5 options: continue, load suspend point, create suspend point, reset game, or 2 game selection. And in their save slots on the right side of that screen, save slot 1, 2, 3, and 4.
4, yep.
Okay, so you're going to have this is going to be like the 3DS. This is going to be suspend points, which, and of course the Wii U had it as well. This is obviously shaping up to be the spiritual successor to Virtual Console with all of these things. Here's the one unanswered question that did not get answered today, and I'm very worried about. Do I have to be online to play these games?
And that's the interesting thing. I mean, they make the statement you can play, save, and jump back in the action whenever you have a few minutes, wherever you happen to be.
Right.
So, I can only imagine that this is probably localized. I mean, obviously you can't play online if you have no internet connection. Like, let's connect those dots. But I wonder if it's, basically what it does is the system checks your account every month or whatever it is, essentially, right? Do you have a Nintendo Switch subscription? Yes. If so, this folder is now on your menu and you have access to this. And within that, they're all, I mean, again, these are NES games, small files, right? So maybe it's less than half a gig of content that's already saved on your device local. And then you have it anywhere. I suspect that's what it is. I suspect it's a validation check that the data can be there and that the saves are saved. Again, we're thinking small data here because it is NES content. It's not taking up a lot of room.
The most important thing that you guys missed is how exciting they made Ice Climbers look.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Because to be fair, that this is going to breathe life into games that get a bit of a bad rep, I think, and I think that Ice Climbers is one of them. The jump mechanics are a bit weird on it, but I think that's going to be really fun to play 2-player over the internet. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that a lot of the older games that get overlooked actually get some sort of like limelight with this. I'm really excited for it. I think that. We've had a lot of complaints about Virtual Console not being there. I think this is shaping up to be much better than Virtual Console. Yeah. It's definitely a lot more value for money.
Also, on the online page, one of the things I noticed was you could click on the icons that were in the reveal video, that were during the Direct. And when you go to save cloud data, it actually shows a picture of it running on a Switch.
Yep.
And how it's back, like a little check mark backed up, backup progress 76% for Super Mario Odyssey. Here's something that's interesting. There's going to have to be a new icon for this.
Yep.
And so when this 6.0 launches, I'm wondering if we're getting a little bit more too. And I don't want to like throw fuel on the fire of rumors or whatever, but like, how nice would it be to see like, oh, there's save data cloud backup. You touch this thing that looks like the Lakitu cloud and you'll go there. Or, and we've also included folders, for your games. I don't know. I'm wishful thinking, right?
Yeah, I mentioned it yesterday during my video that you can check on our YouTube channel, but I suspect that while the hood is open, there may be some more work done under the hood than just this as well. I just want to put a pin in this, Gary. This will be out before I come over and see you in a week.
Yes.
So we can actually sit down at your place and play 2-player Ice Climber together and some of these games. Because I'll bring over my Switch. We can try a couple of these things co-op as well and see how it
I want to see a video of you two playing co-op pro wrestling.
We'll make it happen.
That needs to be on the YouTube channel.
We'll make it happen.
We've actually got another guest going to be there as well. So Phil Myth. From PMIF Gaming will be here. So if there's any 3-player, 4-player games, we might get some footage.
We're going to sort it out. Now, a couple other things that were covered here that I just want to kind of quickly touch on. The Nintendo, the smartphone app, which everyone rolls their eyes about. As I mentioned before, I suspected this was going to get an update. It is indeed getting an update. # Justin called it. It will now be working with the following games. And again, of course, this is with the Nintendo Switch online service. Splatoon 2, we already know it works with. It will now be working with, ladies and gentlemen, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, ARMS, Mario Tennis Aces, and Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES Switch Online. So these are, of course, the games we were just referencing as well. They said that there may be some special features for compatible games as well, and they referenced the Splatnet. So again, not a huge shock that we're going to start seeing some of these more party games having some actual content added. I wouldn't be shocked if you see something like a Mario Party actually potentially being added, and I wonder how third parties might get on here, something like a Overcooked 2 or some of those other functions. So again, I would suspect next week as the actual 6.0 update appears, be prepared that your smartphone app should also update as well. I'm hoping they may make some other fundamental changes to make it more like a messaging service where we can use it more, a little bit better. So
I just want a lobby chat. I just want a general chat on this. I don't want it to be completely tethered to the games.
That was my thought too, Gary.
Yeah. I'm hopeful.
Now, in hopes of this podcast does not run for being a 20-hour podcast, I want to move us on. So those were the Nintendo Switch Online stuff, guys. It's all coming out next week. Watch for our coverage the entire time because we've got lots of content. I guess I guess that's it. There's nothing else we need to talk about for the Direct, right? Moving on.
Oh, no. We can't get past this.
You're right. We didn't spend enough time on Luigi's Mansion 3.
That's right, yeah.
I am excited.
I'm super excited about Luigi's Mansion 3. I was talking to some guys before, and I realized, like when we were watching the direct, right? We were watching it for the first time, me and my son, and I was like, oh, they're opening it up with 3DS. They're going to do a Luigi's Mansion, video. And then I watched it a little bit more, and I was like, those aren't 3DS graphics. That's way more detail than 3DS. And then I looked at my son, and I was like, they're making a new Luigi's Mansion. And then that's when the logo popped up, Luigi's Mansion 3, which is working title, but it'll probably end up being, it looks stylized enough to be the final title, but not any details given other than it's coming. It's 2019. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
The interesting thing about this as well is if they subcaption it, because what was Luigi's Mansion 2 called in America? Was it called Luigi Mansion 2 Dark Moon or just Dark Moon?
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Yeah, so it was just called Luigi Mansion 2 here. It didn't have Dark Moon as a subcaption at all. So it's kind of weird that this was just Luigi's Mansion 3. And
right.
Did you guys have the same thing? It was just Luigi Mansion 3?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's nice to know that it's the same, exactly the same trailer. So yeah, we could have had a difference there.
I'm really looking forward to this. Like this has been one that's been on my radar for a good long while.
Exactly.
I'm hoping that. I mean, I know it's going to be amazing, but I'm hoping it's out sooner than later. Also, they end the direct with a final tease. Isabelle shows up and begins to talk about how the town's so deserted now that the mayor and everybody's gone to Smash and Pocket Camp and all kinds of other stuff, and then she says something about, well, maybe I should be the mayor. And I was like, and it's of course this is in HD, right? As it's not like in New Leaf. They've not programmed this little sequence in New Leaf. And down at the bottom of the screen it says not final in-game footage. So I was like, oh yeah, we're getting an Animal Crossing game. It's happening. But then they swerve you with Isabelle and Smash, which may be the character that nobody asked for. I love Animal Crossing as much as anybody else, but I just don't get it. I don't get why people want Isabelle to fight in Smash. I did think it was a nice touch to like have Gulliver come up and give her the envelope, and as soon as he gave her the envelope, I was like, yeah, she just got an invitation to Smash.
Okay, so I'm not the biggest Animal Crossing fan, although I've been duped into buying like pretty much everyone that's released. But Isabelle is one of those characters. Like, it's weird to explain, but Animal Crossing's got so many characters, and it's as if they'd been throwing and throwing and throwing. But Isabelle's the one that's stuck, and like for some reason, people really shine to her, and like I'm so glad that there's more Animal Crossing representation in Smash, and I think she's the perfect character for it. It's going to be interesting to see if she's got what skins and stuff she's got in there as well. But I think she's going to add more variety to Smash as well, and I just hope she carries on talking throughout the game, so you hear everybody's grunts and then you just hear blah, 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 blah.
Nice.
Because
if that's the case, she's my main, just to irritate people.
The interesting thing about that is you talk about skins. The cool thing they could do with her is because her moves are so they're not like, there's nothing about her moves or her moveset that looked like this has to be Isabelle, right? They could just make her skins all different Animal Crossing characters.
Yeah, they could, yeah.
Like they did with what was it, Alf, with Olimar and Alf, right? And the Koopalings. I would love to see them do that with Isabelle. That would actually kind of redeem her. If I could fight as Mr. Rossetti or Tom Nook, yes. Speaking of Tom Nook, he ends the direct by basically announcing that there is going to be a new mainline Animal Crossing game coming to the Switch in 2019. The last time we had a mainline, core Animal Crossing game on a brand new one was 2013 when New Leaf debuted on the 3DS. This is exciting to me. Like I'm hyped for this. I particularly know that Phoenix Moore and Colin and a few others, fans of the show, Adam Leonard and others, are super, super stoked. They had been begging for Animal Crossing. Man, I'm so glad they got their wish. I'm in 100%. I just hope that this is not here's my hope with it. Okay. Nintendo has the big holiday game every year, right? The big November game or December game. I hope this is not it. I really, even though it has been absolutely bonkers for Nintendo on the 3DS, like the sales of Animal Crossing. But I just can't, like, if this is their holiday game for 2019, I don't know that that's the best choice.
See, yeah. I think as Nintendo fans, this has concreted 2019 to be the stellar year. Like, really. I mean, we've got Metroid, supposedly Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Yoshi. It's Fire Emblem. It's big. 2019 is 2019
is going to be a huge year. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, it was interesting when we obviously after the announcement came out, I put out a tweet saying, "Hey, what did you think of the Direct? What are you pumped about, and what do you want us to discuss?" And of course, the response is coming in. Adam Leonard says Animal Crossing, Katamari, and then let's see what else we got here, folks. We got tons of responses here. Thanks for everyone who jumped in. Matthew Gibson says, kicked off with a great start, but kind of lost momentum on the line, but the Animal Crossing stuff was so nice. Mikey Burgett says, love all the Final Fantasy news, especially Final Fantasy VII. Nick says, Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, Starlink, Animal Crossing, NES Open, Animal Crossing, Settlers of Catan, Animal Crossing. The cities look cool. Wait, have I mentioned Animal Crossing? It's so awesome. Delta Dawn says Luigi's Mansion, Yoshi, Star Fox content in Starlink. Excited for the online service despite the fact being bare bones. Colin Harris says Animal Crossing. Joshua says definitely Square Enix showing love for the Switch. Owen says this was awesome. Exactly what E3 should have been, and love the show, and big love from Ireland. Owen, big love back at you, sir. Big love from Waterford to you, Owen. Onyx says here, Starlink, Splatoon update, Animal Crossing, awesome. Let's see, Christopher Katamar, Final Fantasy was from Brad. 2 words says Dakota in IRL, and that is Animal Crossing. Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, Isabel and Smash. That's from Joshua as well. So, yeah, tons of excitement around Animal Crossing, which is not a huge shock for that. And I think it'll be interesting to hear how Nintendo works it in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, they've laid the foundation, right? Absolutely laid the foundation for a stellar year. Well, guys, that is all of the Direct news. Thanks for sticking with us for that. Why don't we move over into...
I think we should almost wrap up.
The end of the show. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Why don't we move over into the end of the show? Because it's been a big one this week. Yeah. Direct weeks like this where there's a Direct, that's pretty much our focus, and it should be. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. We're going to put up a poll over on our Twitter feed with a couple options. One, how did you feel about this Nintendo Direct? Obviously, you've said what you're excited about, but did Nintendo knock it out of the park? Were you just kind of meh about it, or did you just think that they blew it, right? We want to know what you think. So head on over to our Twitter account over the next couple of days and look for that tweet. As always, we want to say huge thanks to our Patreon producers, David White, Dave Ernsberger, and community manager and Patreon producer, Timothy Off, for all that they do for us. But we also want to say huge thanks to all of our patrons as well. You can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads to support us. You can follow us on Twitter at Nintendo Dads, on Facebook, on Instagram. All of our social media handles are Nintendo Dads, so just search for that. You'll be able to find us. Email us over at nintendodads@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, read your questions, read your love on the show. In fact, episode 200 is coming up. If you want to write an email and tell us how Nintendo Dads has changed your life, then this is your opportunity to do it. If it has, Justin threw his eyebrows up when I said that. If you just want to send us some love for our 200th episode, that would be great. YouTube over at Nintendo Dads. Check out all of our videos. Got stuff coming up almost every day. call in and leave us a voicemail at 929-25/NDADS or 929-256-3237. And if you want to buy some sweet Nintendo Dads merchandise, tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store, all lowercase. Big thanks to OC Remix for all the music throughout the show. You can also head over and check out Adam Leonard and others, Carter Johnson, who do all of our art. They do a fantastic job. Download this podcast every week from iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Check us out over at vgtribune.com. Guys, for me, for Justin, for Gary, and the silent Jesse, it's been a show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
I love it.
Pew, 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 pew.